What is going on, the YouTube? So I'm probably about 2 weeks into training on the triathlon. So I finally signed up for them. My coach allowed me. And it sounds corny. You're like, oh my God, your coach is, yeah, she's amazing. She's world renowned. So I'm not going to sign up for shit. And when she's like, I don't want you to get injured, I don't think you're ready, or whatever the case is, but I've been really good with my nutrition. I've been incredible with my training. I haven't missed a workout. Granted, it's only been 2 weeks, but it's been 14 straight days. And I could talk about that a little bit more. So the biggest thing is when you're going into the training is that you have to be disciplined. Number one. Number two is you can't go over the top. So that was the biggest problem, is that I want to train more than what she wants me to. So she'll say, do a 1.5 mile run, do 1,200 yards in swimming, and maybe 10 minutes on the bike. And I want to do more on each of them because I'm like, oh no, I'm going to do 2 miles on the treadmill. I'll do, 1,500 yards in swimming, and I'll do 30 minutes on the bike. But the problem is, and in the book, highly recommend you guys buy this, which is called Triathlon Bible. And essentially in there, and my coach reiterated it, was that, and by the way, the training Bible is amazing because this guy was actually one of the OGs in triathlons in the 80s, when it wasn't cool, when no one knew about it, when they're like, what do you mean you're doing 3 sports? You just run, or you just bike, or you just swim? He's like, no, we're doing all 3. So, and he's come out with a new edition. So the new edition essentially says, don't go over the top. And the reason being don't go over the top is that it's all about consistency. It's all about doing it just every single day instead of pushing your limit and then not really doing much the next day. Pushing your limit, not doing anything the next day, not doing anything the next day, not doing anything the next day, pushing your limit. And the reason being, when you do that, you're not actually growing, you're not actually getting stronger, your endurance isn't going up. In fact, it's going like this, and that's not how to train, because that's not how a race is. A race is all about consistently run your own race, blah, blah, blah. So moving on from that is that nutrition plays a massive role. So I had something called GI issues, gastrointestinal issues, which means that I had really bad fucking diarrhea, just really, really bad. So I Googled it, and clearly this is a thing, okay? It's kind of like, unless you guys watch this or you looked it up, until you go through the training, you'll probably exert yourself too much and maybe get injured, or you'll run someone else's race who's in better cardio shape, or better on the bike, or better on the run, and you try and keep up with them, but they're just better than you at running or whatever. So nutrition is something that I shouldn't say always. I would say the last year I really dialed it in, clean, healthy, raw, mostly vegetarian. Tonight I'm going to have meat, but probably once a month I have meat, if that. It's just not my thing. I don't like where it comes from. Not like the animalistic part, but I don't know where it comes from. Is this a cow that's been like pumped up with all these hormones, or is it a cow that was just, running free and wild? Was it chicken, free range chicken? What was it fed? Was it corn? Was it wheat? Was it grass? Was it natural? Was it organic? Was there pesticides? So I'd rather just go with, whole grain, not whole grains, but whole foods and things like that. Not Whole Foods the store, even though I do shop there. I mean like whole foods, like raw foods. So with GI, so I looked this up. It's not the greatest thing, to say the least. So essentially it was maybe 4 a.m., 3 a.m. Highly recommend actually magnesium, which is an incredible thing when it comes to, I might actually do just a nutrition vlog on this. But GI essentially means that gastrointestinal issues, in other words, diarrhea and whatever, is that when you start exerting your muscles, all the blood will start going to those muscles. So essentially, if you are swimming a lot, it'll go to your arms and your shoulders and your neck. If you start running a lot, obviously your legs, or you're biking, go to your legs. And the thing is, for whatever reason, there's obviously a scientific reason behind it, but it's not able to break down the food. So when it doesn't break down the food, something happens because the blood is elsewhere. It's repairing your muscles because you're exerting yourself and your body's not used to it. And there's 2 ways to go about this. So the first one is that, first of all, you have to get your body used to it. So your body has to be used to this nutrition. your body has to, and the reason being is that you don't want to go to race day and DMF. In other words, do not finish, because you haven't dialed in your nutrition, or it's totally different on race day as opposed to anything else. So for me, I'm taking a lot of goos, just to obviously replenish not only the lost glucose, but I'm dropping pills. Noon, I think is the name of it. Noon pills or new pills, something like that. They're really well known. Actually, it's right here. So you have, actually, nope, that's something else. But this is what I'm doing on, you just drop that into water. I'm doing 2 of those, and then goos. These are obviously very popular. So I do that probably afterwards, unless I'm doing an in-between. In other words, I'm biking, I'm swimming, I do something in between just to get my levels up. My frame is a little bit thinner than other people, so I don't want to lose muscle mass. So protein is a big thing. But going back to the GI issue, so essentially the best way to get around that is that you have things that traditionally you're not supposed to. In other words, bagels or cereal that clumps up your stomach. And the reason being is that when your blood is moving to other areas of your muscles, and your nutrition is, say, very high in fiber, in other words, just salads or lettuce or tomatoes, just vegetables, it's just going to go right through you. So you want to get those things, those starches that actually hold it up in your stomach. And they actually say don't have very high in fiber, or don't have high fiber meals 72 hours before the race, or else your body's just gonna leak that through, not through solid, but through liquid diarrhea, and that's just not anyone's favorite. So it's just part of the training. And if you take this challenge on, you're gonna go through it as well. So nutrition is a massive thing. They actually call it's not a triathlon, it's a quadathon, or whatever, whatever 4 is, the pre-word, whatever they call that, before the word instead of after the word. So essentially you have obviously biking, swimming, running, but then nutrition is the biggest thing. So I highly recommend anyone that gets into it is that you start very slow and you dial in your nutrition as soon as possible, because when your muscles start breaking down and blood starts going there to repair it naturally, your nutrition has to be dialed in so you don't lose energy. You also don't go through what I've been going through and everything else. So this is, I think, vlog number 3. If you guys have any questions, leave in the comments below. Have an amazing day. And the 2 that I signed up for, actually I signed up for 3, was the New York City Triathlon, AC Triathlon. And so the one in New York City is actually a sprint, so it's very short, but it's in between my 2 Ultramans, or I'm sorry, Ironmans, half Ironmans, not full Ironmans. So the first one is Connecticut, that has very tough elevation, and I'm gonna have to get my biking legs so I don't lose all my energy in running. And then the next one is AC, which I'm probably gonna go more for time than anything else. I'm gonna be able to know how to transition. I'm gonna know how to do a lot of things that, say, I make all my mistakes on the first couple of Ironmans or triathlons, and then go in and just dominate AC. So if you guys have any questions, leave in the comments below. Subscribe to the video. Talk to you guys soon.